Go baby, what's good guys? Yoku here. In today's video, I'm going to be helping you understand team building in Honkai Star Rail. Now, team building is very similar to a few other gacha games or a few other turn-based games, depending on which direction you're coming from. But at the end of the day, team building is really simple once you understand the mechanics of the game, how combat works, so on and so forth. And if you want to focus a bit more on characters, then I'm going to have a playlist here between Moon and I going over the beginner character guides that we've developed together. If you want more of a combat focused video teaching you the actual gameplay, I've got that video right here for you to check out. But in this video, let me go ahead and break down team building and how to put it all together. So for the most part, I'm going to be using pridewin.gg in order to help you guys understand the easiest way possible. And if it's not easy, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments below. I can be pretty friendly, I swear. At the end of the day, you're going to want to focus on your skill points. Normally, everything will look like this: 777, right? 7 skill points. Actually, hers is 8 because she attacks more often. But the breakdown of this is based on your speed. Now, when you're building a team, when you're looking at the characters that you want to put in there, I always say the same thing. And I've said this since Genshin. I'm saying this now, especially because a lot of you are coming into the game fresh. The game is brand new. Launch day, week 1. You're gonna get a 5-star character. It is physically impossible for you to not get a 5-star character within the first week of playing the game. I promise you, if you play the game, you will get a 5-star character within the first week. Now, which 5-star character you get completely changes a lot of different metrics. See, you can get Himiko, and now you're able to build a team like this where you focus on Himiko. You could get Bailu, and then now Bailu doesn't really have a team built around her per se. Bailu is splashable on almost every team. So at that point, you're looking at different routes, my DPS, my sub DPS, so on and so forth. You could get Bronya. Bronya is very similar to Bailu, except Bronya does have some limitations here and there that would prevent you from just slapping Bronya on any team and expecting her to work. Of course, you can get Zila if you're insanely lucky or spend some money. Blue, go away, thank you. And with Zila, you do need to build a team around her. Yeah, she's gonna carry the entire team by herself, but she still needs and wants a lot of support. So when it comes to team building, start with whatever 5-star character you get first. At a very base level, when you first get the game, they give you the team to play with. Who is it? It's Dan Heng, it's Physical MC. I believe it is March 7th. And then somewhere along the road, you're gonna get Asta. You'll get, instead of Asta, you'll get Herta. Instead of Herta, you'll get Natasha. Instead of Natasha, you'll get Xingxi, I think is how you pronounce her name. I could be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize for butchering it. But you'll get one of these 4 characters along the way. They all kind of fill the same role, give or take. At a base level, you're gonna have 5 different classes or roles, if you will. Your main DPS, your sub DPS, a shielder, a healer, and then instead of that, you would have support. Now, of course, there are like micro roles in between the big role. I guess DPS would be the micro role because DPS turns into sub DPS, but then support turns into healer, shielder, or whatever. So you guys kind of get what I'm saying. There are different characters for different things. I won't go over everybody and what they do, but you can pretty much tell who's who. A shielder is gonna have shield, a healer is gonna heal. Supports are a lot more broad, by the way. A support could be Bronya, great support. Asta, great support. Ting Yun, great support. Welt technically counts as a great support. And then this is going to be a debuffer, right? Welt is going to be a debuffer. There are a few other debuffers in the game as well, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? I hope so. If not, ask away. When it comes to building the team, you're going to start with the DPS preferably, and then from there, you're going to look at what this character needs. What does Himiko need in order to make Himiko as strong as possible? Himiko does not have a lot of speed, so maybe, just maybe, I'm going to want a character like Asta. In the event that I wanted Asta, the reason that I want Asta is because Asta has the ability to use her ultimate and then give anyone a flat rate of 36 speed, which is going to increase Himiko's speed to 132. And as you can see, this went from 7 to 9, almost 10. So that means that my Himiko can almost attack 10 times per my 7-turn cycle, the entire battle. So the higher that speed number is, the more attacks you can do per turn, per action. So if I were going for something a little bit more early game, it would probably be something along the lines of having Himiko as my main DPS, and then I know that I'm gonna need a single target DPS, so I'm gonna throw in Su Shang. And these two work hand in hand together because one could be the sub DPS, one could be the main DPS. And I want Su Shang once again because she is single target damage. It's quick, it's high, she's self-sufficient, she can work on her own, but a support unit would significantly help boost whatever she's got going on. Now, you can choose between a shielder or a healer, and this just comes down to your personal preference. I really don't think that I need either of these characters. Like, I could use Natasha, I could use March, doesn't really matter. The thing about shielders, and the reason that I don't say March is like bad, but I don't think she's amazing either, is because when she puts a shield on somebody, that means that that person is now going to get targeted, or they have a higher chance to get targeted. So if March puts the shield on Himiko, Himiko has a higher chance to get aggroed because of the way her shield works. Someone like Japard would be a lot better. Someone like Trailblazer, Fire Trailblazer would be a lot better because their shield applies to everybody, and then they take the aggro. They are true shielders in the game. But for right now, let's just say that I go with Bailu or Natasha. I'll try and keep it for free to play real quick, just for the moment, right? I'm gonna have Natasha here. Natasha's gonna be able to heal everybody, do my physical damage, call it a day. Cool beans. Now last, I'm gonna want someone that can help support the team by skill point generating, right? This right here, doing basic attacks. They're not required to do their skill. They don't really need to. But if I have a couple extra points here and there, I could use it. If I have someone that has a really nasty ultimate, I could use it. So someone like Ting Yun, to be honest, would be perfect for this role here. Ting Yun is going to be able to buff Himiko. She's going to be able to increase Himiko's ultimate meter thanks to her actual ultimate being able to give that energy back. Ting Yun is just a great character overall. Ting Yun is fast. You can see that now she's matching with Su Shang, being able to get about 8 attacks per cycle, right? So now all 8 of these could probably turn into like 6. I could use her skill twice because it lasts for so long. And then 7 basics turns into 7 attacks for my Himiko to be able to use. And it works phenomenally that way. And as you see here, I still have 15 skill points that I can mess around with. And this is the basis of building a team. You want to look at who's using your skill points and then who's going to generate those skill points. That's the easiest way to explain it. Now, moving past this point in the game, and again, those familiar with Genshin Impact or other types of RPGs will understand these concepts. Now you want to build characters. Building your character can be fairly easy. If I were to build someone like Himiko, and I'm just on a huge Himiko kick right now, don't sue me. If I were gonna build Himiko, and then I wanted Himiko to have some things to help do a break build, I'm going to target stats. I'm going to target artifacts that help with doing a lot of damage, building the break effect, so on and so forth. Now, Himiko naturally has a percentage or a chance to burn the enemy. And after the buff she received post-launch, she's going to be able to do that almost 80% of the time thanks to her new buff. So I could just get something where if I know 80%, my natural stat is 80%, somewhere around there, for me to burn the enemy, I need to get some substats to increase my effect hit resistance or effect hit rate by about 20%. That'll guarantee that I'm around 100% or so for my effect hit rate to be able to burn the enemies. And so now I can focus on, hey, I want to build in some break damage. I want to get a main stat piece with maybe some crit rate, try and boost that up. I want my planar sphere to have the fire damage. I want my link rope to have the break effect, and now it's at like 80%. I want my boots to also have break effect, and now my break effect is at 160%. These, of course, being maxed out. I can make boots speed, so now my speed jumps up from the 98 to 121, making my Himiko a little bit faster. So as we saw earlier when we were building her out, if she increases her speed by just a little bit, she can start attacking more turns or more attacks per turn cycle. My light cone comes into play. So now I can look at light cones, and let's just say that I had Night on the Milky Way. Awesome. So now with Night on the Milky Way, this is going to increase my attack up to 5 times. So it's going to stack. My enemies that I inflict with weakness break, my damage is going to increase for that following or that same turn. And this is amazing for Himiko because of her literal passive, which is the robot, and it goes and then it brings all the damage out. It increases the damage of the follow-up attack that turn. So a lot of that damage is going to come from Himiko doing weakness breaks. And that's why I said I would want to focus on Himiko with potentially a break build, because if I'm getting the breaks already, the robot comes out and it potentially breaks more of the enemies. It also burns the enemies. There's just so much damage being stacked on top of one another that Himiko is looking like a really fun character to experiment with at the start of the game. My traces are going to play a big factor, increasing my fire damage, increasing my attack. I'm going to have my trace A4, right? So once I get it up to A4, then my skill damage is going to increase by 20% for all the enemies that have been inflicted with burn. When Himiko's max HP is above 80%, my crit rate is also going to increase by 50%, which means what? Now I want my crit rate. I could leniently allow my crit rate to be somewhere around 35%, give or take, because when I get to the A6 trace, now my crit rate is just going to jump up to minimum 50%. That means every other attack or every other thing that Himiko does is going to crit. Yes, this includes my follow-up attacks. So as I'm building out my character, I'm now able to look at the rest of the team and say, hey, what else do I need on the team? Do I need speed? Nah, not really. I can get away with no speed. Maybe I could add some more damage. Maybe I could get some crit. Maybe if I pull Bronya, I can just let Bronya do her advance forward. And now Himiko just doesn't need speed. I just need maximum attack, maximum break effect, maximum effect hit rate. There are so many things that come into team building about this game that I'm in love with. And the more in-depth you get with the game, the more in-depth you can get with how you build out these characters and what their goal is. Now, of course, early on, a lot of this stuff won't matter. And I don't say that in a way that like you shouldn't be thinking about this at all times. I mean that it is not worth stressing about. If you don't get the right relics, if you're not building into the right stats early on, it's okay. You can always turn the game around. Once you reach around level 40 or so, you start to get about mid-game. You can look for these 5-star artifacts. You've got more characters. By the time all of us get to around level 40, we're artifact grinding. We're a little bit more knowledgeable about the game. I guarantee you're going to have 2 to 3, maybe even 4 5-star characters that you can actually put on a team and play around with. So even as a free-to-play player, you do not have to expect that you're going to be stuck with 4-star characters and you're forced to build around them. The easiest way that I could help alleviate that issue or worry is that the 4-star characters are just there to help you through the beginning of the game. And then once you keep playing it, you learn the game and how it works, you're going to be able to get so many other characters. Another thing to take away from that is I'm not saying the 4 stars are bad. You have a character like Ting Yun who is absolutely cracked and, in my opinion, a must-have on everybody's account. But that ultimately comes down to what you want to do with the game and how you want to build the team. Hopefully I was able to break down team building in a way that everybody could understand that, both novice and advanced, and even give you a little bit more insight on things that you might want to start focusing on when you get towards late game. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments down below. Join my Discord if you want more help team building, or if you want to hang out with the rest of us in calls, Discord chat forums. I think that's a thing now. And then you guys can actually talk about all the different builds, share your stats, share your images, share your gacha rates, whatever. Like the video, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this Star Rail content, because I'm coming out banging. That sounds kind of weird. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.